Hi everyone, Shane R. Monroe here. We've talked about digital rights management, DRM, and even the illusion of freedom when it comes to owning your games. But today we're digging into something deeper, something more existential. Do we really own anything anymore, especially in the world of video games, physical or digital? What does ownership even mean today? Maybe we never truly owned anything to begin with. We're going to unpack it all, from license agreements to disappearing games. And by the end of this, you might look at your game library a little different and maybe even learn to make better decisions. This is going to get uncomfortable, but stick around.
Let's go into the Monroe world.
Let's kick this off by defining what most people think ownership means. To the average person, ownership is simple. You pay for something, you get to use it, keep it, lend it, sell it, maybe even break it if you want to. You possess it. No one can take it away from you. And that's how it works with physical stuff, right? You buy a toaster, nobody's coming over and revoking your toaster license because you didn't update the firmware. But when it comes to games, especially in this digital first world, that idea is a fantasy, and it has been for a while. Now, some of you are reaching for that smug comment, but Shane, I buy physical games, I still own my games. Yeah, well, let's talk about that. Modern physical games, especially on consoles, are often just license keys in a plastic case. Insert that disc into your PS5 or Xbox, and it either downloads the full game or pulls in a huge patch to even function. Try playing that game 10 years from now with servers shut down. Good luck. Now, consider the new game key cards from Nintendo for the Switch 2. Just when you think they figured out the most complicated and insidious way to part you with your digital rights, this sort of thing comes along. You don't actually own any of the game, just the right to play it. And that right is tied to a central server that is watching everything you do and can literally reach out and brick your system if they don't like what you're doing with it. Yikes. Even cartridges and discs from older generations had issues, but at least the entire game was on that sucker and you could completely do with it what you will. The truth is, physical has had one foot on the banana peel for a long time, and the publishers just can't wait to see it slip and fall to the floor. But things get really fun when we talk about digital. When you buy a game on Steam, Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, even GOG, and you think you own it. Well, what you really own is a revocable license. Let me say that again. A revocable license. All of them can deprive you of a future with that title, even the almighty GOG. Now, granted, they can't take it away from you after the fact, but they can still deny future access. That means at any time, the platform holder can yank that game off of your account. Might be due to expired rights or legal battles, or sometimes shady EULA clauses you never read. Don't believe me? Ask anybody who owned Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, back when it was delisted nearly a decade ago. Gone. Or PT on the PlayStation, one of the most legendary horror demos ever made. If you didn't already download it, too bad. It is gone forever. You didn't own those games. You leased them until the landlord changed the locks. And if you think that's bad, welcome to the era of cloud gaming and subscriptions. Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, GeForce Now even, Ubisoft, they're all convenient. I use some of them from time to time, but they're not ownership. They're the digital equivalent of renting a movie from Blockbuster, only this time the tapes can disappear from the shelf while you're in the middle of watching. Your access to these games lives and dies by licensing deals and corporate whim. Even with something like Game Pass Cloud, you don't even install the game, you stream it. Your rights to access that game is completely abstract. If it's pulled, you didn't just lose the game, you lost the ability to touch it in any way. Now, some of you might say, so what, Shane? I beat the game, I'm done. Who cares? God, the publishers love you. Here's the thing. When you don't own your media, you don't control your experience. You can't mod it. You can't archive it. You can't lend it to your kid 20 years from now to play. We are entirely at the mercy of developers, publishers, and platform holders. And guess what? Their interests rarely align with ours. That's why game preservationists matter, why emulation matters, why modding your old hardware to preserve your own legally purchased games should not be controversial. It should be common sense. So, what can you do? First, be aware. You know what you're buying. Look past the marketing and understand the terms. GOG-style DRM-free games are good for a preservation option. Believe it or not, there are games on Steam that are technically DRM-free, if you can find them. A ton of stuff from Amazon Prime Gaming is decoupled from their dreadful launcher. Of course, the farther you divorce yourself from a digital locker, the less service you're going to get. No automatic updates, no cloud saves, no automatic Proton selections or precompiled shader caches for those of you who are on the Steam Deck. Second, back up what you can. Archive the installers. Preserve the disks. Use emulation to safeguard titles that are no longer accessible legally. There totally is value in backing up your games on Steam, especially the single-player non-de novo games. Steam games can be unlocked pretty easy with a couple of DLL hacks in the future. At least if you can download it and back it up, there is hope for the game's preservation for the future. You don't get that with streaming or cloud-based gaming or even cloud-based rentals. Finally, support efforts that prioritize your rights as a consumer. Push back against always online requirements like de novo-based DRM. Push back against publisher accounts and digital lockers. Talk about preservation. And when possible, vote with your wallet. God, yes, vote with your wallet. That's the only language that they understand, and the only color that they care about is green. So let's recap. Ownership as we knew it is basically dead in gaming. Physical games aren't what they used to be, and this is getting worse all the time. Digital games are leased, not bought. Streaming is renting the rental. And we've traded autonomy for convenience. But you're not powerless. Knowledge is power. And with a little vigilance and a bit of the good old rebellious spirit, you can reclaim some of your control over your collection. Take your backup. Support companies that support their players. Don't settle or lose yourself to FOMO. Wait for the draconian requirements to be lifted before you buy. Gabe Newell that runs Valve once said, piracy is a service problem. If you pay for a game and the game gets delisted, pulled, or breaks thanks to the publisher, you do have some options. While game companies are more often than not disrespecting their customers, you just might have to respect yourself if you want your rights left in check. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you feel like you own your games? Have you lost access to something you've paid for? Sound off in the comments down below. If this video opened your eyes or echoed your frustration, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss what's next. I'm Shannon Monroe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.